the voice in your ears, and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purvis, and this is Pro Football Sweden. Welcome to season two, talking football in Sweden. Appreciate everybody's comments and messages online, letting us know how we've been doing this season. Going pretty good. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Ja Lo Juice. What up, Juice?
What is up, Purvis? What is up, Pro Football Sweden and people tuning in? Hope y'all are blessed.
Yeah, it's the PFS podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast, and you can see us visually here on YouTube. Wherever you listen or watch, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Now, let's get into a little bit of football. All right, first quarter here on the PFS pod. We talking energy from the semifinals of the Super Serien last weekend. What was positive? What was negative? Let's start off with the negatives. Juice, what was negative about it? I think I already know what you're gonna say though.
Wait, am I frozen? Because I look frozen.
Yeah, for some reason your screen looks is frozen. What's going on? Let's see. Let's take a quick pause.
Fucking energy, right?
I have no idea why I went back to that, but yeah, we're talking energy, positives and negatives from the semifinals last weekend. Juice, what were some of your negatives from it? I think I know what they're going to be, but go ahead.
Man. Well, the players might agree to the weather conditions. That probably was a negative. Some would testify. I'm a type of guy. I don't like to play in rain. Don't like to play in rain. I don't want any excuse. That's why I say basketball is a little bit of an easier sport because you got no excuses. It ain't no weather condition that's stopping you. Ain't no water on the ground, on the floor, things like this. But for me, I don't like these rainy games for semifinals. But some of the penalties, some of the judgments by the referees, oh my gosh, I was like,
Yeah.
man. Um, and that tear. I mean, Tirso Erbrew game. Somebody couldn't finish. Um, the comeback, I mean, I love a comeback story, and I think, that was a beautiful thing. That was a beautiful thing. I'm not gonna be too much on negative today, honestly.
Okay. What can I do for negatives? Because I don't think I have any negatives. Oh, well, nah, that's a positive. I I'm gonna go and kind of just agree with you said. There were some calls that were just like there was some calls that was just it was tough to see those calls made when they were made in some of these games. That's probably the only negative. I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's go positive, man. What was positive from the weekend for you?
I mean, positive. It was that you could tell that both all the teams were fighting. As I just said, I slipped my positive in. I love a comeback story. Tidiso coming back and winning that game was great. Um, I mean, they fought through the adversity. It's their home crowd. Um, on the other side of the games, in Karlstad, man, that boy Jay Slade Jonathan looks scary, bro. I mean, it's not like how fancy he is. It's just the fact that we're gonna get into this. It's just he just looking over the field. He just controls that team so well, and that's so scary.
Hmm.
It's so scary
Yeah,
how stinky he is, and even them looking so good in the rain. I expected a lot more drop passes by them early on, and they was connecting.
true. You could barely tell it was raining with that game. For me, the positive is that Carlstad went in there and took care of business. It was 21-0 at half. I don't know. I don't care what happened after that. Turned my TV off and felt good about doing it. That was a positive for me because I was like, I feel like before the game we all assumed that they were gonna win, but I like a team that like goes in the playoffs. You're the number one seed. You're playing the fourth seed, and you let them know, hey, you just got invited, but you're not really, you don't really have a chance to make that championship. And that's the way they played. That for me is a positive because we haven't seen a lot of that this year. Because in contrast to that, when you look at the other game, Orbro should have won. Like they should have won that game, but they let Tiraso hang around. I've said this like every week. The most talented team in Finland is the Tiraso Royal Crowns. I mean, in Sweden, sorry. The most talented team in Sweden is the Tiraso Royal Crowns. And if you let them hang around in a game, they will come and do great things. And even in that game, if you watch the game, Orbru was in control of it the whole first half. It was 20-0. And I was like, okay, getting ready to turn this bad boy off. And then next thing I know, Tiraso scores before the half. So I'm like, okay, I got to watch the second half. Tiraso comes out, scores it, I think, on their first possession in the second half. And now it's a 2014 game. And now they have a chance. And that's just not a team you want to give a chance because what they do is they have big plays. That double V's interception return, they did that right after a field goal. So instead of letting the team get 6, they only gave them 3, but then they came back and scored a big play. That's just, I mean, that's not a negative. I think it's a positive for Tiraso. I think they showed that they are capable of playing with anybody because at any moment they can score. But I preferred the way that Karlstad did it by just going out there and putting belt to ass on the Predators. But congrats to the Predators on a great season too, though. Just want to throw it out there. I think they had a really inspiring season in the Super Serien. They proved a lot of doubters wrong, me included. But did you notice they did not wear gray jerseys? They came out in them orange joints, and I appreciate that. When I seen them walk, I was like, "Oh yeah, they came to play, baby." I mean, obviously the other team was a little bit better, but I think that they understood what the assignment was. You can't come out there in them ugly grays, so they did all right. That's all the positives I got. You got any other positives, or we're good?
Now we good. We can move on.
All right. All right, second quarter top performers presented by Ballers International. Let's go over a couple guys who stood out to us in the playoffs. Juice, give me some names.
Um, Double V, of course. I mean, I think he was pretty much MVP of everything. Um, uh, Believe it or not, I still would give a little bit of something to Kevin Borsay. Uh, Slade Jarman, that guy. I like Slade a lot. I like him a lot. There was a few guys on Twitter, so I'm trying to stick away from my favorites. Caesar is probably my favorite player on Tiraso defense. Now I know y'all think my bro, but I'm trying to stick away from him. But I would give another flower to Cole Broxwell. He missed a
Yeah,
pick,
he did.
but he had two key plays. And he was lighted up because in order to keep Jacob Rushina down like this, Jacob started to show some glimpse in the second half, but him and that linebacker core of Tiraso did a good job. So I'll give my flowers to those few guys. Oh wait, I gotta give my flowers to my boy Pablo. My boy Pablo came in from España and get that first touchdown. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Way to represent, bro.
I'm gonna stick with a couple of running backs. In my opinion, I think Tim Schultz again did a really great job of being able to help that team move the ball so that they were able to pass it efficiently. He was also involved in the pass game, I guess a couple screens, whatever you want to call it. But like he had no problem moving, obviously, and that helped their offense just go because they just clockwork against the Predators this weekend. But then on the other side, Double V obviously had a great game. I like that Tiraso was like, "Hey, we're gonna get this man the rock today," because they were finding a lot of different ways to get him the ball early in the game, and even later, and he had more reps. It looked like he was in more at running back, even if he wasn't getting the ball. And I like that because it makes their offense a little bit more dynamic, and you'll see them kind of key in on the run a little bit more defensively from other teams. And then I think that Orebru's running back, Jacob B, had a really good game. I also think that it's one of those games where if if Orebro's, I don't want to like say it negatively, if their receiving core had done better, they would have won this game. Because in the first half, they were able to run it like efficiently enough so that when they passed it, it was okay. But in the second half, Tiraso kind of clamped in on the run a little bit because that was what was working against them. So it makes sense that they started to focus in on Jacob. And at that point, what happened? Orbro didn't show up. Like there wasn't anybody like making great plays in the passing game, and not to take anything away from the quarterback because I think he was hitting people in the hands and the face mask a couple times. I think it's just though that's what it came down to, and that's I love that this game played out how the season played out to me. Tiraso, one of the most talented teams, their talent showed up. Orebro, just as talented, if not more, but they got slippery fingers. And we said that early in the season. Like they've been messing up Thick Vic stats all year. And when it counted in the rain, obviously, there was times where those passes dropped and it kind of cost them the game. I wouldn't say that's why they lost. I would say they lost because the other team just played so well towards the end of the game. But yeah, the running backs I think really had a lot to do with everybody's success this weekend. I know there were some teams that had catching and receive and quarterback play. Did you say anything about Jay from Tiraso?
I talk about Jay too much. They gonna think that.
No, but in this game, you got to talk about that man. Like, because
You're
I
right.
normally don't talk about him
Yeah.
because I know you're going to talk about him, so I usually don't. But in this
Jay's a
playoff
dog, man.
game,
Yeah. I
like
mean,
you see what he was
Jay,
doing back there, like a
man.
magician. He
Yeah.
was making defenders miss, extending plays, and then dropping dimes, and not just dimes. He was dropping bomb dimes. Like he was throwing it deep, and it was right in the bucket every time. All the big plays.
Kevin Mercer got robbed again. I looked at the
No,
replay. You only need
he
1 foot
wasn't
in.
robbed.
He
You
was
have to have
not.
possession. They even paused it. He had a foot and he never brought the ball in. Like it like bobbled just a little bit. Now, me personally, I would have gave him a touchdown anyways. I would have gave it to him. It was just too good of a hell of a catch. But like he instead of like bringing it down, it like bobbled and they paused it. Like the ball was in the air when he had that foot down.
You talking about
And
the touchdown? You talking about the touchdown one, right?
yeah, the
The
one
one
they got take that caught. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Like
okay.
they paused it and the ball was like in the air when his foot was down. And then he regathered it. And it was just like, it makes sense. That means he didn't have control of it yet. So by
I
the
don't
time he
know.
got control of it, he was out.
I do want to talk a little bit about these things, but I don't know at what point we can. But there's some questionable calls in the game that
Let's do it now. Let's do it now because we normally we would if we had top plays, we would do top plays. So let's just add a
okay.
section now. We're going to talk about questionable calls.
Yeah, so there was a crackback that happened. It wasn't even a crackback, and they called it a blindside block with targeting. So I was like, "Oh, he smacked 23. He smacked him on the sideline." Then when I checked the other angle, I guess he slightly touched him in the face, but he barely did it. But it was a clean angle. He was just running for his full speed, and he just made the block. And because it was just so powerful of a hit that they made it seem like, and it was on Tiraso's sideline, no guard was right there. Hey, because his head went back. And sometimes you get hit in the chest, boom, your head will still go backwards because
It's
somebody's coming.
momentum.
Like we've been too soft. Like we said last week, you got to keep your head on the swivel, bro. You got to see that
Yeah.
that block is coming. Like he came from
Yeah.
a distance too. It's just because he came from the side. I would not have if it was clearly targeting. They didn't show the best angle to show if it was targeting, but the hit it was not definitely a blindside block.
But it was a block though, right? Like that's
It was a
again,
kickoff.
I don't get too much into the referee and stuff, but like we said last week about the head on swivel, if you're going to block somebody, you're obviously not aiming to block them in the head. So like I don't know how you're going to target on the block. Like that's not how anybody blocks. Now you going to go cream them, yeah, but you're still going for the body. And I feel like when it comes like targeting or even like unnecessary roughness, that's one of those things where if I have like a defenseless player, I got a receiver going across the middle, they're reaching out for the ball. There's no way they can see what's happening. But this guy didn't have his head on the swivel, and you're gonna penalize the guy that made a play to help his team. Like I call it flugazy. Like I understand you got to be careful and watch out for the health and safety of the players, but also that doesn't mean the players can just be stupid on the field. You not having your head on a swivel, that's that. I mean, it's part of the game. You got to be smarter than the average bear.
Okay.
Boo
Hey,
boo. You know.
I'm sorry, guys, that we don't have the video for you guys at the moment, but I'm looking at another play right now. It was a pass in the second quarter, 10 minutes and 56 seconds, third and fourth. They threw the ball up to Anton Bjork. And number 11, I love your swag, bro. But, bro, that was
You keep
really
calling.
no, because he actually did better. I don't know if he listened to us, but he did better. Hopefully that negativity, whatever he's seen as, or we see it as positive, positivity, you know what I mean? But, bro,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the ball. The ball is in the air, and Anton doesn't even have the ball yet, and he already put the clothesline on my man and bringing him down. And the ref is literally right in front of them and goes like this. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, come on, dog. Let me go and find the.
I got one. I don't know if you saw it, but the obvious push off by Trevor Vasey in the third quarter. I wrote that one down because I mean, like it was obvious he pushed the dude and caught it, and I think that was against Sebastian Johansson. So just it didn't really amount to anything, but it was to me it was obvious. And I was like, that's crazy. Because with that, and then the Kevin Borsay thing, and then, like you said, like the crackback block, it just starts to pile up when there's a lot of things in one game that are kind of, come on, refs, let's do better.
Yeah, I mean, what I looked at that the Trevor Vasey play. The push off was clean. That's why as DBs, and we was working on this week with my team in Vaza. Man, you got to lean into the guy because there's always going to be a little bit of tug. And I think Trevor it was a PI, but he did a good job to where it goes so unnoticeable because it was like, you know what I mean? And it was at the right moment.
Yeah.
It was so good. And that's when if a referee's like, all right, look, I'll eat my cinnamon toast crunch to make sure I can see everything, you know what I mean? But, hey, 47. I gotta call you 47, bro, because that was not a Sebastian Johnson play. You gotta lean into my guy. You gotta lean into him.
It was a savvy play by Trevor Vasey, though. Like, shout out to Trevor Vasey because it was one of those plays where for me I'm like, oh yeah, that's obvious, but at the same time, it could kind of go either way. As a DB, I guess you got to flop. Is that what you do? I mean, yeah. Just like if he push you, you got to make it seem like, oh man, he pushed me, and I guess.
And I'm also looking at the play right now, but the second angle I didn't record. But I'm looking at the angle of the blindside block and his shoulder. I mean, the face barely makes contact, but it's the shoulder that's kind of in his chin, so it makes his head turn really hard, and he just got whopped. I mean, this is a clear example of it's just even for safety and just making sure that everything is right, integrity of the game, that they need to have replays. And be able to challenge these things to make sure that he didn't really hit him in the head. They've actually caught the pass and etc. Because the big eye in the sky don't lie.
True that. Yeah, you got any other plays or Gucci?
That's
all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too.
All right. All right, third quarter. Keys to victory. Super Serien Final is this weekend. We got the Crosshair Crusaders hosting Tirso Royal Crowns. Oh man, let's talk about it. Let's start with the Crusaders. What do you think they need to do to win this matchup?
If the Crusaders want to win this matchup, they just cannot keep this game close. It's too dangerous. You see what as we look at the top three teams, we knew that these three teams belonged in the playoffs. Airbrew showed that They probably was the number one team. They deserved to be the number one team for a long time in this run. They got better. Don't think that Titaso is the same team you guys played against in the first game of the season. They're not the same
Yeah,
team.
true.
Even though like they wasn't horrible then, and you guys put the spanking on them, they're not the same team. They're a lot better. Jay is leading this offense really well, just like the same way that your quarterback is. There's just two different styles. Two different styles. My number one thing is don't keep the game close. Don't keep it close. They got a five-power offense that can explode, and their defense is flying around to the ball really well. And quite frankly, their defensive players are, in my opinion, a lot more athletic than some of the other teams that they've been seeing recently.
Hmm. Definitely a different look for me. If I'm talking to Carlstad and saying, "Hey, this is what we got to do to win the game," I I think they have to go very similar to the Predators game and demoralize Tiraso. I think
Mhm.
Tiraso is very like emotional playing type team. And you saw
Yes.
it even when they played against Orbru. They're down 20-0, but they didn't feel like they were down. Like
Yeah.
they were getting you walked, but they felt like, okay, we still got a chance. I think for Karlstad, they have the right personnel. Cut all that. Like sit down there, hand it off to Schultz, pepper that thing around with Slade Jarman, and just walk it down the field. And then when they come up on offense, shut them down, walk it down the field. I think if you do that enough, they're gonna take too many big shots, and Karlstad is good enough that if they get a lead on them, they won't give it up to them. I think that is a slight difference between them and the Orbru team that we saw play last weekend. Is that this Karlstad team, if they get up by 3 scores, I really can turn the TV off. I don't think they're probably the only team in the league that I for sure know that if they're up by 3 scores, they're not going to give it back. And I think if they go into this game saying, "Hey, we're going to be methodical, we're going to be consistent, and we're going to make them work," they'll be fine. But that's hard to do against a team that's as talented as TRSO. So I don't want to make it sound like, oh, that's all you have to do. Is it's going to be a very hard task. I think for them, it's one of those situations where this is not going to be a game where you want to have like 8 possessions. This is a game where you want to have 6 possessions and you want to score on 4 of them. You want to have 3 possessions in the first half. You want to score on each one of them. So then the second half, at halftime, they're thinking about what they need to do to come and beat you, and not, oh, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and change a couple things. They're going to be, pressure in that second half of the game. Let's move to the other side of it. Tira So, what do you think the Royal Crowns need to do to get a win in this game?
I mean, first of all, they didn't listen to what I said about with Stockholm. Oh my goodness, all the wrong teams. What
Karlstad.
needs to do, you know what I mean? So they definitely want to try to get some trick plays in there. Their offense is cute, just like Karlstad. They both I mean, frankly, a lot of teams have a lot of cute plays, but most of the cutest plays are coming from these two teams in the finals. Um, use
Killing
your
the cute
formation,
players.
like use your formations to your advantage. If there's some stuff that you guys saved offensively, because these motions are things you got a game plan for. You do got to practice these things, and the more that you can uh, be more multiple, and this is a tip for other teams that's probably listening to this, for the next season. The more formations that you show, defense got to rep it out because you always got to be prepared for if they're a paranoid coach. Like if Tracy Gear is still like the DC, I'm not really sure. He's the type of coach who's paranoid, and he's going to have to rep out all the things. Hey, they got this formation. Hey, Roy, make sure that these guys are good. But we're going to practice this anyways. Tracy Gear does not want anything to slip by him. So these are good things that they need to do. So try to outsmart them offensively and um, keep the game close as possible so that you guys can get that separation or try to get ahead. Because the thing is, the way I kind of see it, and it's kind of my foreshadow like how the picks might go, but my picks might be surprising. Um, if Carlstadt get up by a little bit, it's going to end up being a blowout. It's going to be a
Mm,
blowout. But if they keep it close, Tiraso can win it. Simply.
that makes
Uh,
sense.
let
For
me add
me,
another point. Let
oh,
me
go
add
ahead, go
another
ahead.
point. Like defensively, they really gonna have to tone in because like Carlstadt offense is Slade Jarman, you know, and him getting the ball out to his receivers. I'm not going to point out any like one particular receiver who's like super great for them. It's just Slade Jarman just knows how to get them the ball. The offensive scheme is really good, and they're running back in the O-line. So if they can take away, put some pressure on Slay and just strap up some of his best receivers, I think their linebackers is going to be able to put Tim Schultz in position where he's not going to be super dominant as Tim Schultz have been. But Tim Schultz proved me wrong. Prove me wrong.
I agree with that last part you were saying about I think for Tarasso, I think Tim Schultz is the key. I've said nothing but great things about him this season. That's just he's been really impressive for me.
Really good running back.
But I think that Tarasso has the personnel that you got to sell out on the run, man. And again, even when I say that, I'm not saying that if you can stop their run, that's going to make them pass and that's good. You don't like your chances against Slade Jarman, but I'm just going to leave that big but in there. You have a much better chance of incomplete passes, breaking up a pass every once in a while compared to he's going to get 4 yards rushing. So I'd rather like pick the lesser of two evils. And if I'm Tarasso, I'm saying he's not getting more than 2 yards a pop against us. So they're gonna pass it. And what we have to do defensively is just rally to the ball. Tarasso has good enough defensive backs. Their outside linebackers cover well. What's the guy's name? Is it Brockwell, number 39?
Yeah, Brockwell, Cole Brockwell.
He's a linebacker, but my man covers ground in coverage, which limits windows, which means when you're playing against this caliber team, Slade Jarman's going to get it out quick, most likely. And what they've done well is when he gets it out quick, his receivers can make something from it. You just got to shut that down, rally to the ball. And I think him, especially Brockwell, is going to be a lot on him because he's going to be probably in charge of helping on the run game, and he's probably going to be the first guy to rally to the ball. But if he's able to kind of toe the line between both run and pass, they have a really good chance to slow down that offense. And one other thing that I think is possible for Tarasso, and this is a little harder to do, is create turnovers. The few games where Carlstar hasn't, it's hard. It's really hard. But the few games where Carlstad hasn't played well, they've had like a lot of turnovers. And usually it's like fluky. But if that happens, that could be a positive for Tarasso. If they get a couple like lucky plays, I don't know how you manufacture luck, but if you're ready when the luck happens, y'all gonna be all right, because I feel like they're gonna be able to make something of it. That's really all I think they have to do. Is offensively, I think that they have a good enough offense game plan. They'll be able to get some points up there, but it really won't matter if they can't stop the Carlstad offense. And that's the hardest thing to do. And I don't have any exact way to do it besides hope that some things go awry, which is possible. Carlstad hasn't played like lights out all year. Like they've had a few games where it's like, oh yeah, that's great. But they've known to, every once in a while have a slip up. It's a championship game. Maybe you get a slip up here or there. Like Drew said, if it's close, you got a shot. You just got to make sure that it's close. And that's going to take a couple of stops, maybe a turnover here or there. And then next thing you know, it's fourth quarter, you got your shot. I think that'll give them a good thing to go. Did you have something you wanted to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to see Carlstad offense making mistakes, turnovers.
But it's happened. It has happened. That's the only reason I use it, because technically it's happened.
Yeah, for sure. We seen it happen. I mean, nobody's going to always be perfect, but it's just like when I'm listening to you saying that, I'm visualizing the games that I've been watching. I really think that Tarasso's offense is really. I mean, speaking about so good about Carlstad's offense, Tarasso's defense. They just got to have the right matchups to like slow down, plays, because Carlstad is not trying to be super explosive all the time. But when they get explosive, they get explosive. But Tarasso's offense is definitely going to have to play the major part and try to find the holes in Carlstad's defense, because there are some holes there. Like when it comes to athleticism, Tarasso is the more athletic team, like player to player. But It's just something, they just gotta have to find a way. Because I'm thinking about, okay, they got Yacht on the line, they got number 50 there. You got Caesar, all these great players who, like, man, they can get some work done, but Carlos got a game plan. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into the picks. All right, this is the moment we've been waiting for. We're gonna pick the winners and why of this championship game. Now, if you want to see our picks online, you can see them on Instagram at Pro Football Sweden, and you make comments there. No need to flood the DMs. But let me put this out there. Perfect Purvis will be in Carlstadt this weekend, baby. I'm gonna be
Oh, man.
out there. I'm gonna be PFS down. If y'all see me out there, depending on the weather, I'm either wearing a t-shirt or a hoodie, but you'll see the logo. Come holler at me. Let me know what your thoughts are about the podcast, and we'll talk a little bit about the game while we're out there. I don't know if we're gonna do any like actual media. I gotta see my schedule, but I am excited to see the championship game. Last time I saw a championship game was 2018 when I was out there with Jalo Juice
That's
in
gonna be a pressure,
Stockholm.
you know.
Yeah, like that first year, like way back when. Yeah, I think that's when I saw Stockholm play. I'm also excited to see the women's and men's game play because I think who's in the
Carlstadt,
women's championship?
I know
It's
it's
Carlstadt,
Carlstadt.
right?
Yeah, and
There's
the funny thing about the girls is that Göteborg Marvels didn't want to play against Carlstadt girls in the semifinals.
oh wow.
Yeah, well, that's what I heard from a lady player on Carlstadt Crusaders.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
They didn't,
some of the best players, well, not best players, but there's a couple Finnish players out there playing for
yeah,
Karlstad. So that'll
yeah,
be
true.
interesting for me to see them play in a different country as well. So it's gonna be a really good weekend. But I guess let's talk about it, man. Who you got and why? Or do you want me to go first?
I do
Yours
want you
gonna
to
be
go,
more
man.
dramatic. Thank you.
Yeah,
Let me go
yeah.
first because I feel like mine's gonna be less dramatic. I can give you the short. I'm gonna give you the short version. I'm gonna let you do your thing. Uh, I I believe either one of these teams can win, but because I'm going to be in Karlstad and Karlstad's at home, they got two teams playing at home in this game. I believe the Karlstad Crusaders will not let us down by losing at their home turf, and I believe they will win this game. I do think Tiraso gonna give them a run for their money, but I think worst case scenario, the refs help them win. I just don't see them losing in Karlstad. Oh, let me throw this out there too. I want to go taste this what is it?
Kebab.
Kebab. The
You,
kebab in
you,
Karlstad. That
you better
someone
go get
tell me where to
that.
go. I have to go get one when I'm
I tell
down
you,
there.
Carlstadt Grilling, City Grilling.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
it just hit my mind. But
yeah.
and
You
I
better
think
try it.
I'll be
Best
eating my
kebab,
kebab.
best kebabs in all of Sweden. Them and Young Shepherd, and them and
Okay.
Young Shepherd.
All
Yep.
right. So I that's my pick because I think Carlstad is going to win. They're the home team. I think they're going to play solid. I think there'll be a couple of like interesting plays from Tiraso to keep it close. And I think that it'll be close, but I think we'll get to like the last quarter and Carlstad will go up by like 2 scores or something like that. And then it's just like, time before they win. What about
Yeah,
you? You're
yeah,
picking
man.
why?
Yeah, bro. You just made me become a. No offense to women. Hopefully, women that would listen. Yeah. You just got to my emotions right now when you talked about them Carlstadt kebabs, man. I'm just thinking about winning the game because I only lost one game over there in Karlstad. When I played for Karlstad, I lost two Karlstad in the championship game that was at Karlstad. Everything in my guts is Karlstad, things like this. I want to support Tiraso so bad. I do. I mean, I would say like, some of my friends that play in Karlstad is there. Like we don't even keep in touch anymore, for real. I mean, I talked to, Roy Kelly because we was connected and Mr. Gooding, but anyways, and Matthias when he was over here. But Tiraso has the athleticism, what I mean, and I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for both teams to do really well. But man, you just tapped in my emotions, man. I can't go against Carlstadt. I can't.
like that. That's what's gonna
Can't.
be crazy. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see like the atmosphere in Carlstadt for a championship game. And again, like I said earlier in the season, the CEFL didn't go the way that they wanted it to. So like this is the most important thing for them, and it's a double day, women and men's. So there should be a lot of people there. I think this is one of those championships that people from all over Sweden might actually travel to the game just because it's been a real feel good season. And then also Curacao making it to the championship. Um, am I wrong? Where I haven't seen them in the championship. Like
Nah, yeah, because last time I
I started
think
watching
they lost to Stockholm, I believe, if I understood right, in the championship, uh, like many years ago. And last year it was Stockholm Karlstad.
yeah, that so I mean I don't I probably
Örebro
should have
got
checked it. Yeah, I probably should
yeah.
have checked the stats, but I know since I've been watching football in Sweden, I've seen Karlstad, Stockholm, Orebro in the championship. I think those are the only three teams I've seen in the championship.
And teams that have been actually have won them, in the past 5 and 6 years, or even stretch it out to 7.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
normally them playing against each other. Like I remember there was a time where I was like Orebro playing against Stockholm or Karlstad playing against Stockholm. I mean, that's the only matchups I know. That's why I think that it's going to be a heightened experience with Tirso being in it because I think there's a lot of people that are Tirso fans and they've been waiting for this moment. And again, I'm still picking Karlstad. Sorry, I'm picking Karlstad, but there should be a lot of emotion and fanfare at this stadium in this game from both sides, both Karlstad and Tier. So I think a lot of people from Stockholm area are going to make the trip, and it should be a huge event. So I'm super excited about it. But yeah, I guess we're both going with Karlstad in this one.
yeah. I just wrote to Chat GPT. Hopefully, some of you guys are not negative on Chat GPT. 24 Carlside Crusader, 23 Stockholm, 22 Stockholm, 21 Örebro. Then Karlstad in 2020, I lost that one. 2019, I won this one with Stockholm. Then Stockholm before. Then it was everything before that was Karlstad for many years.
Gosh. So I
Yeah,
mean, they know how to win. But
yeah.
yeah, that's all our picks. Let's get into it. All right, that's it for this episode of Pro Football Sweden. Time for overtime. Anything you want to throw out there, talk about before we, hop up out of here?
Congratulations to all the teams who made it to the postseason. It was good to watch you guys. I'm excited to see what you guys are gonna do next year. Um, and good luck to the team that's in the finals. I put these on purpose. This one right here is a turkey bowl one. I know my camera's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a turkey bowl when you get this in Finland. So make sure you see American football in Finland flag. Make sure that if y'all got a team and y'all want to get another championship or y'all didn't get a championship, come over to Finland. You only need about 12 guys, right? Just to get a team. And I'm
You
playing in it,
literally you could play with like 7 guys and be fine.
Nah, I mean, just at least get 10. At least get 10.
Well,
Good time.
because we changed it a little bit this year. Remember, Juice? Like last year, it was like a one full day of games. That's why your team got like exhausted at the end. But it's two
Yeah.
days now,
Thank you.
so you can rest a little bit. So it's a 2-day tournament, so you have time from day 1 to day 2.
And this
You
was a
only need
little bit
like
better.
7, 8 players. Yeah.
Nah, but I ain't doing that. We're gonna have a proper team because we gotta split them that Airbnb or hotel costs, Whatever. The next, my college, this is the last one I got in my college, So if I can tap into your emotions, what I mean, do that. But I know if you play for Karlstad, BD is definitely going to make you tear up. I mean, he got me tearing up. BD Kennedy. Every I ain't gonna lie, almost every game I was in there just tearing up. Listen to BD. BD fired me up, man. Just thinking about it right now fires me up. Shoot, man, I miss BD. He used to make me tear up in the locker room, man. I'm holding it in. Got my visor on too. You can't see it. man, I can't wait.
Emotional.
Yeah, very, very, very emotional. The only thing that give me emotion is my faith in God and playing football, bro. Maybe my wife
Yeah.
in the future, but right now, uh, that's it.
All right, I don't have any I actually don't have anything interesting to say because I already told you I'm gonna be out there. So, catch me in Carlstad, baby. Hit me with a kebab. I'm excited about that. It's gonna be a great one. It's a great end of the season. I'm glad, teams that really deserve it made it to the championship and we get to be a part of it. So again, good luck to both teams this weekend. I think we'll probably do a post game review show. That'll probably be our last one. So you'll see us next week also. But please like, follow, and subscribe on all social channels at Pro Football Sweden. And we'll see you next week. Deuce.
Deuces.